This is how we did just a little unit study on Monet for my 6, 8, and 10-year-old sons. And I wanted to share the resources that I used. We did it in conjunction with what we do for geography, which is where we study a certain country and just kind of deep dive and go down rabbit trails and enjoy ourselves. And how we utilize the passport as well with that. So one thing that I have, these artist specials, they also have scientist ones, all kinds of ones. This is a great resource, these DVDs. They go into the life of somebody famous, and there's always a kid kind of conjoined, so you're like looking at their life through the eyes of a kid. But really great acting, very interesting. My kids have always liked it. It doesn't feel documentary-ish. It just really puts you right into the time. So we've really liked these a lot. So we do have the one on Monet. We watched that. Then this book, Linnea in Monet's Garden, is a great book. I can't wait to flip through and show you how the inside of this looks. So this we read through, and I kind of did it in a couple chunks because there's quite a lot of text in it. So I did the first chunk, and then the second chunk, which kind of got into some of his family's life, I read that while they were doing a painting. Then for their passports, they have maps that we printed out of France that they folded up. So when they unfolded it, though, we looked on the map, like, okay, where's Paris, and where was his other house in Giverny? And then on our actual French page that I put out when we're studying a certain country, I do have one of his paintings up there, and so that they could see that was something that we were going to be studying. I have a calendar that has a lot of his paintings on it, so I took that down, set out some paints for my sons, and just regular old Walmart brand paints. We don't do anything super fancy. One thing that I do with painting, though, is I only have red, blue, and yellow, and then white and black. So they're learning their colors and color theory as far as mixing and matching to try to make different shades and different versions of the colors. So I really like that I do that. I think that's a good way to help them to learn more as they're painting. And then the goal this time was for them to paint in his style and try to either replicate or just use the same style that he used. And 2 of them definitely stayed on track and replicated it. One of them, he got a little paint on his hand, and then he started stamping with his hand, and then he was kind of doing a Jackson Pollock thing. And so it's fine. It is what it is. And, you know, I present the stuff and they can try it or not. At least he's painting. That's good. And they're little, so, you know, it's fine. We'll have other times to practice things. But we really had a good time with it. And I even sat down and painted as well. Sometimes as a parent, I feel like we present these opportunities to our kids to grow and to try new things and to stretch themselves a little bit. And I think it's good for us to remember to try that as well. And so that's why every single time I don't join them in on all the stuff, because a lot of times too I have to help them with things. But sometimes I like to join in, and I think it's good for me, and it stretches me, and I always feel good afterward, like, yeah, that was the right thing to do, to paint with my kids, and I enjoyed it. So I'll show you pictures of our paintings and how those came out, and maybe alongside too, the one that was our inspiration painting. And then I'd like to show you inside this book, and I guess that will be it. So time for a real page turner. And to give you a glimpse behind how we paint, we just get these large primary colors, white and black, paints from Walmart. I got these simple paint trays, maybe from the dollar store, not really sure. Doesn't have to be fancy. We've used paper plates in the past too, but it's kind of nice to have the trays for when they're color mixing. And here are the art pieces my 10-year-old made. And my 8-year-old, he's the one that got a little hand stampy and Jackson Pollocky as he was going. And then my 6-year-old, and I joined in as well. I think painting is so important and special, and such a easy way to have art with our children and something that they can enjoy and make a memory together. So then this video here on Monet, part of the artist specials, there's a whole series of these DVDs. They're kind of harder to get a hold of, but they're really worth it. They're very good. So in this one, Monet is renting-ish a place from this boy's mother, and I say ish because he's not really making the payments because he's not making money. And that's kind of a theme that goes on. You know, he owes the grocer money and he owes this boy's mother money. Then there's this kind of father and son dynamic going on where this boy's father is also an artist, but has left him and his mother. And so, you know, Monet is kind of a father figure to him throughout it. And then Monet's son is in it as well. And it kind of talks about Monet and his relationship with his father. He does have friends in it, like Renoir, who he meets, and he's painting together with them. And so it shows two people that are criticizing his work and that don't appreciate the Impressionist movement. So yeah, really good movie. Linnea in Monet's Garden. Now, we have the book. We also are very old school and have VHS tapes. And the VHS tape and book were similar. They had a lot of the same scenes and pictures in them, but they were different. The movie is very much like a 90s cartoon effect, but then it'll clip into these real life pictures of Monet's house or his paintings. So it was neat. It kept my kids' attention. They liked it. It was only half an hour short, but it was really good, and I would definitely watch it again. So let's look inside this book. So it's following the story of, now I pronounced her name Linnea. In the movie, it's Linnea. So either way, but it has real life pictures of Monet, his paintings, his family as you're going through it. It explains things about his life. And it's following the story of her going to Paris with her neighbor, Mr. Bloom. Talks about where they stayed, the things that they saw while they were in Paris, and visiting the museums and seeing his artwork. And then talks about them going to visit his pink house, and they have a little picnic there. So really, really cool. And you can see, you know, lots of big pictures and illustrations and just little bits of text in between. So it was just really captivating. Definitely a new favorite book to me. This is the painting that one of my sons imitated when we did painting together. And then at the end, she's home and she's putting things together in the scrapbook. So the premise in the movie is she's putting the things in the scrapbook and then she goes back in time and explains her whole trip. Wasn't this a great book? I love this book. It's such a good resource. I loved the pictures in it. I loved the amount of information. It went deep enough where we could all kind of learn something new and get a better idea of who Monet was and his life and his work, but not so deep that it lost the kids or me even while I was reading it. So hopefully this is a helpful look inside our unit study on Monet, and maybe it encourages you to try it as well. And remember that real life is messy and beautiful, and better with books. And they do have the movie version as well, which maybe I'll say something about that in the other thing. All right, just enough information to keep to our artist specials, but boy, what are they called? I don't know. Jeez Louise. This is a DVD, so it shows where we're coming up in time with our electronics. That's all we have, DVD and VHS. That's what we do here. He does have friends in here like Renoir. So, from the study. So, I hope this, not so. Why do I always say so? Okay. Renoir.